that probably take me an hour. Miss Little asked me to make a video about the aviation that's coming up next year. We that since it's been cold recently, and super windy. I don't we can't really film in the sky yet. I'm still wanting to put statistics and numbers, as in like what kind, like how many opportunities aviation can give you, and etc. So really, that's just like this like a little teaser, sneak peek of what that video could be. Next year, next month, we're gonna add it more. I'm gonna add it more into the video, especially when the junior high is coming before the high school. So when kids come and see the video, they get hyped and they want. Right. So that's
So that was coming attractions.
Yeah. If you want fun aerials, find the what are they? The ag pilots, the spray planes.
If you had a better looking main character, that might help as
Yeah.
well.
I think everyone was perfect.
Oh, he's the man.
He's the man.
I don't know how you didn't flinch with someone like in your face doing it.
So I want to introduce the presenters. We have Tori Little, assistant principal at Perryton High School, and we also have Colby Waters, CDC director, executive director, right?
Yes.
Yeah, can somebody turn on?
And you have the slides in front of you, board members.
You ready for me?
Ready
Okay.
for you.
Well, some of you I've met, some of you haven't. Like you said, my name's Colby Waters. I'm the executive director of the CDC, and I'm also the assistant city manager of the city of Perryton.
I'll just watch the slides.
Colby, sorry, will you move that
Want me to
speaker?
move it?
Yeah, I've had a couple people tell me that whenever they're watching, they can't hear very well.
Is this better?
Yeah, thank
There
you.
we go.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Well, I can, I don't know if they can or
All
our
right.
Facebook friends.
Well, an interesting thing, how this program came to me was Doug Hale actually had sent me an email and with an article from a couple Oklahoma cities that had this aviation program that they were using. So Oklahoma, I say we could probably always do things better than Oklahoma. I'm an OU person, whether that's good or bad. I usually get a groan or two, but I did some looking into these programs that these schools are offering in Oklahoma and looked at the curriculum that they're using, which is the AOPA, which is actually the Aircraft Owner and Pilots Association is what AOPA stands for. So I looked into how they were using that curriculum, what it cost, and then came to Dr. Rock, and we talked about how that could possibly be implemented here in Perryton. So some of you may wonder why a CDC person might be interested in trying to get a program going in the school. Well, we've seen a lot of success with our partnerships with Frank Phillips College, with the welding, the CDL, the diesel mechanic program. The CDL, they've just graduated their first 7 people, and they have, I think, 10 signed up for their next group, and they have a waiting list. And then we're working on trying to get the welding program and the diesel mechanic program started in the spring. So people are really interested in getting those things going, and those are high demand jobs. So it's something we'll talk about a little bit, I think, throughout our program is high demand job training. And while aviation is usually not the first thing on everybody's mind when they come to think about Perryton, what I've tried to do in my position as the CDC is try to think a little out of the box. So everyone in our area is competing for ag jobs, oil and gas type jobs. Aviation, maybe not so much, but why is that? When you look at the industry, which this type of program isn't just designed to pump out pilots at the end. It's a program designed to show kids the entire industry. So why would we be interested in that? It's a stable industry that has a demand that I was unaware of really until we went to our program. And I may be skipping into other places, but when people tell me they need 600,000 people a year and the starting jobs are $50,000 to $100,000 every year, every job, even base jobs, I think, well, gosh, we ought to look into that for our kids, because they may not even know that those jobs exist, and all of these companies are looking for people to put into those jobs. So as you can see, the focus on the entire industry, traffic control, aviation logistics, people who manage airports don't have to be pilots. There's people who manage animals on an airport. There's a high demand for people who can manage pigeons and coyotes and deer and those kind of things in these jobs. So we've seen all kinds of things. And then also we've seen quite a bit of growth in the drone area so far as crop management, crop insurance investigations. They do heat maps that they can determine what part of your crop is being watered more and may need less or more, those kind of things. So there's what I primarily wanted to say is it's an industry. It's not just pumping out pilots at the end. But why aviation? It's a high demand job. It's something that we can spend money as a CDC in certain ways where we can't in retail. And so as a CDC director, I was interested in trying to figure out ways we can spend our money wisely, bring industry, and if it also helps us get kids educated and good jobs out in the future, then I'm all for it. So I'll step away. I could talk too much.
So for us, looking at the local benefits for our students, at the high school level, we lost a robotics teacher. We have a lot of students in junior high who are really interested in robotics. This would be a natural progression for them to get into aviation. It would help to, if we went the drone route with them for the robotics piece. We also, it would incorporate a lot more STEM activities. They're learning more than just how to fly a plane. They're learning about weather patterns. They're learning about the physics of flying, different things along those lines. And the other benefit to this is we really have a school in this area doing it, so we would be able to attract other students from local schools who would be interested in something like this. So it might bring in some more people. And through the colleges, we can look into offering dual credit courses as well. And a lot of the people that we talk to, you'll find about the trip that we went on, a lot of scholarships are available for students who are interested in aviation because there is such a high demand and a high need for people like that. Colby already touched a little bit on the high demand jobs. So 50 to 75,000 start pay without college. And then he mentioned some of the emerging involving jobs for farmers and ranchers. Realtors are using this. My daughter is a civil engineer, and on her team they have a team that uses drones to survey land as they're working on their plans. And then the emergency medical technicians as well are using some of the drone technology. And Carrie Simons also joined us on this trip and added that it would be a fulfilling hobby as well. So the pathways that we're looking at is aviation pilot, and Perryton ISD has already submitted a application to TEA to see if we can start a regional program for aviation pilot. We are pending approval from TEA, and like Tori said and Colby has said, we would be the first in this area to have an aviation program in the Texas Panhandle, so it's just exciting. We should hear word by January, so next month we'll know if we get approved or not. But according to Boeing projections, for the next 20 years, 602,000 pilots and 899 cabin crew are going to be needed. The drone program is already a regional program that's already approved through Region 16, so that one is already available to us. And then there's the aviation maintenance as well, and that one is a statewide program that's already been approved by the state that we have access to also. For that one, Boeing is projecting 610 maintenance techs are going to be needed in the next 20 years.
You want me to try to steal some more of your slides there for you? So back in November, the four of us, so Tori and Dr. Rock and Carrie Simons and I went to the AOPA symposium in Memphis, Tennessee. And it was sponsored by FedEx, K-State, quite a few different other aviation-related businesses. A very interesting thing to me was the degree of excitement that all of the educators had at that particular program. Now, I would probably say the people that don't have good experiences usually don't go to symposiums in regards to programs, but the industry is also excited, and I've had the opportunity to call some of our schools to talk to and colleges, and they're excited about us having a program. So we were able to meet these people, talk to them, get contacts to try to get us, make sure we know who to talk to have a successful program. There's other pieces of this, I think, as it evolves, where we'll be able to draw from the experience we had there to get people here to support the program.
As far as the curriculum, the real benefit to us is, I'll be honest, I was skeptical going to this symposium. I know that things like this we can easily get excited about, but if it's not implemented properly, it's gonna flop. And so that's what I was going for. I wanted to hear from the people who were successful. What is it that they did so that we can make it successful? And one of the key things is the curriculum, and the benefit to us using the curriculum. The AOP curriculum does not cost us anything to use. It's already written by trained pilots who have been working in the industry for years and are also educators. So the lesson plans, everything is done for us. So this would really give us a low impact trial. For the first year, we can use this curriculum, and it's not going to cost us much at all other than getting somebody to teach the course to the students.
What are you doing for instruction?
Mhm.
So it's online instruction? How do you do that?
They have a curriculum, pieces of it are online, but it would also be printable. And so the teacher who was using the class would have students either interacting online, or he would give them the paper copies. It would be up to the teacher how they wanted to do it. And so it would really give us a chance to determine if there is student interest, and also to see how easily our students are prepared for it. I really feel like for a lot of it, our students would have to have a strong math and science background. And so we would be able to gauge how our students were working within that. And if it really takes off like we want, we have time to build that program and to bring in more.
So the next symposium will be November the 5th through the 7th, 2023 in Orlando, Florida.
Are you volunteering?
Maybe. It was a very positive experience, and I think one of the other takeaways from that trip was that we survived a trip with the mayor and the CDC executive director. Very shy guy.
They said the same thing about you today.
That's right. That's good.
Funding, CTE funding, this would actually fall under our CTE funding, which it would be part of our career technical education. So we do get state funding based on the level of the courses, and they do go up to level 4. So that would be weighted. Of course, we talked about CDC partnerships, just providing those job training supports and possible business and industry partnerships as well. These are some of the aviation sponsors that sponsored the symposium. And in talking to contacts there, my goal was to make contacts so if we moved forward, then we had made those contacts that would support us, and we would be able to visit with them to help us grow this program and start implementation. So one of my contacts was talking about aviation donations. A lot of large airlines make donations of retired aircraft for the aviation maintenance programs.
That would be cool.
So, yeah. Their school had 2 aircraft donated to them for the maintenance programs. So it was just really cool. Summer camp. So there is opportunities for summer camp. The EAA has an air venture in the summer, so we just wanted to kind of put this out there. It's in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, July the 24th through the 30th, and it's free to students. They explore aviation through hands-on experiences, gain life skills to apply to everyday life, and they discover unlimited opportunities in aviation careers. Then there's also the Young Eagles Camp. They have a couple of sessions. That one is at a cost of $1,000. But some of the activities include airplane wing construction, aero modeling, ground school, and airplane history and flight. So these are some summer camp opportunities.
So looking at our low impact trial, a lot of this is dependent on numbers. So January is when we start promoting our different programs to the junior high, and students get to select the courses that they want to take next year. So we're offering aviation year 1 to students, and we'll have a pretty good idea by the middle of February how many students have signed up and are interested, and that will tell us. But we're predicting we'll need somebody to teach part-time to get that year 1 program going. And so we can either use a current science teacher, or we might have to bring somebody in, but we have several positions open. So as we're looking for those, we're gonna be talking the aviation program as well to see what interest there is. But for the first year and probably the second year, we're looking at somebody to teach the aviation classes part-time, and our hope is that it will grow enough that we'll both have the capability and the interest to hire somebody full-time who can really build the program into years 3 and 4 for us.
So in year 3 and 4 is when it splits to the student's interest, whether they're choosing to follow the route for pilot, or the unmanned drone,
Aircraft
or
maintenance.
the maintenance.
And Amarillo College, we were doing a little bit of research and learned that they already have a program for aviation maintenance. I wasn't able to get a hold of anybody there, but I'm sure that we could work with them for if we have students interested in that piece, things that they're doing for us within our program could be applied to what they would learn there, and they could take that with them. So that's a local school that is offering what we have, or what we're trying to build here. So this just gives you some information. They have an aviation maintenance technology program, which is 42 semester hours for a certificate. You can read that aviation maintenance technology with an associate in applied science, 60 hours, and then a power plant mechanics certificate as well. They also partner with local businesses. You have Bell Helicopter right there in Amarillo. So there would be some other opportunities for our students that are somewhat local if they were interested and wanted to go this route.
Connecting with others, Mr. Morales has had the opportunity to actually travel in Oklahoma, and he has visited some of these aviation programs in Enid and Mustang and in Ada. So he sent us some pictures. Sorry I didn't get those to you, but we also made a lot of connections with consultants. We met people that have the ground schools, and then Next Gen. Do you want to talk about them right quick?
Sure. Next Gen is a nonprofit organization that they have 2 semi-trucks they bring in that have a lot of simulators and different educational type things, and then they also have one of the largest fleets of King Airs that they operate commercially, and so there's a good possibility that we'd be able to attract them to come here to try to promote interest in this program. They can fly kids in these King Airs. They can listen to what's going on with the pilot and the ground and ground controllers, those kind of things. In a bigger airport, you probably have more interaction, but I know you can talk with some of you guys that may be pilot may know that you can talk to traffic control even from here. But they have a real neat program that they bring to get kids interested in the program.
And then these are some of the flight schools that we've researched, just surrounding. University of North Texas has a program, Baylor University, and then Kansas State. They were at the symposium as well, and Oklahoma State University and the University of Oklahoma. There's our contacts. And they're open for questions.
I have a question for Evan. So, I know that you've been flying for a year now and grew up in an airplane. What do you think, how many kids do you think would be interested in doing that? Like, I'm sure that you get people come up to your school, hey, when can you take me up? When can you do this? I mean, is there interest?
There's most definitely an interest. It's just the
lack of information that they have. They think you have to be gazillionaires to be able to fly, and it's not a reality for most of them.
Yeah.
And so if we can bring that reality to them and kind of spread the idea of it around, I think there'd be a whole lot more interest in it.
And who would instruct these students once they were ready to fly? Have we?
That's a ways out.
Well, not necessarily though. I mean, heck, how long did it take to get your license? I mean, I know that you're fixing to, right, or you're.
2 years. I started when I was 15 and a half, soloed at 16, and working on it right now. I just turned 17.
But it took you that long because you can't get it till you're 17.
Exactly.
If I'm gonna start today, it's not gonna take me 2 years to get it done.
No,
Yeah.
you could well do it within a year.
Yeah. So, well, that's it.
The curriculum that we looked at, it prepares you for the test piece of it, but,
The ground
they would
school.
have, yeah, but they would have to get a flight instructor to do the hours.
And an airplane.
To get the student, if they wanted to pursue the pilot route.
One of the things, Bryce, that we learned at the symposium was the curriculum is designed to introduce a student to the industry.
Yeah.
And so when most people think of an aviation program, they think, well, we're getting kids to be pilots.
Yeah.
And what the industry is saying is that's kind of what everybody thinks, and they think of some of these limitations that we hear. But what in actuality is happening is they need people. I talked to the University of North Texas for quite a while. I've been calling these colleges and asking about their programs. And they have a aviation logistics program as part of their business college. It really has nothing to do with getting a license, but it shows kids how to, what the business side of aviation is, which is not everybody needs to be a pilot.
Yeah.
And also, and with the drone part's a whole different thing, but there's, with maintenance, you need baggage handlers, you need people that can run an airport, which
Well, all
is
the
like a
avionics
small
that
city.
goes into this, you know, I
Avionics,
mean, the seats, the,
painting,
you know, yeah, painting.
Interior, so it's a huge industry that most people associate with being a pilot.
Yeah.
And so this program, what we were excited to see is it introduces a student to an industry, not necessarily one part of the industry. There's actually there's way more people in the industry than there are pilots.
Yeah.
But the entire industry is losing people more rapidly than it's putting people back in. And so that's why you get so much support from the industry that's there. They're saying, look, we'll give scholarships. We'll help you do the schools. We'll send next gen. We'll do all these different things because we need you to funnel people to us. And they're good paying jobs, and it's a steady industry. We've all been in the oil and gas industry. It's ups and downs. Aviation is a pretty stable industry.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I love it, and you know that, Henry and my son will probably be the first two to sign
I
up
think
for the
so.
thing, so.
it's a little bit of a selfish thing for me, because I know my son would love it,
Yeah.
but,
Do y'all anticipate a time that within the classroom study, we would do more of a hands-on type avionics and power generation type, actually have? I mean, I'm anticipating you're getting a lot of online, a lot of video, not having actual avionics parts to be able to take apart, put back together and diagnose issues with. But do you envision that in the future, time you get to year 3, 4, 5 and on?
Ideally, we would like to separate this into 3 separate tracks. So we would have the pilot, mechanic, drones would be the cheapest to buy and give the students that hands-on experience. There are different simulator type programs as well. Where they divide into those 3 separate tracks. And so that gives us time to kind of save and prepare and figure out what the interest is to decide which direction to go when purchasing things for the hands-on. They did sell us the curriculum. They convinced us that the curriculum was really good in that they can do it without the hands-on stuff, but it's gonna be a lot more fun and more practical for the students to provide the hands-on.
more interesting.
Did the people that have done this, did they give you an idea on startup costs, what kind of commitment it would take?
That isn't something that had been talked about, other than we did look into the pricing for simulators and things like that, and there's a broad spectrum depending on how simple you wanna go to how Okay, what do you
And you
want
said
to
CDC
do?
can help with,
I think there's elements of this that we could, and Wes, a few of the schools that we talked to had, there's a plane called there's like an RV-8 and RV-12, these are, they're experimental planes, that there were some of these schools that they put those together as part of their class, and then they would sell the planes to kind of fund the next round of classes, so there's an interesting, but, I think.
I would think the test at the end of that would be, did each student who assembled the plane desired to fly in said plane?
Well, I think that might be, if somebody says no,
You're a test
you
pilot.
kind of
Yeah.
have to wonder where you are, but, the CDC's part, I would say, is aviation-related industry is something that's specific for our type of CDC. We're really limited. I field questions every day about retail-type businesses, and we can't really spend money that way. But aviation-related business is something that specifically we can do. And so we've funded programs out at our airport to get people certified in mechanics and a couple different things over the years. And you know, what we would hope is that if the interest is there, it's kind of if you build it, they will come. And so I'm out working, trying to find kind of small industry that might fit us here. When you start talking aircraft, time and space changes. So, you know, we're 2 hours from Amarillo by vehicle. We're 20-30 minutes by plane, and we're an hour from Oklahoma City. So all these my way of thinking about how long it takes to get someplace changes with the plane. And so people that are in aircraft and even doing our drone type things, we have lots of need for that in our area. Those people are coming from Dallas and Austin and other places, Oklahoma City. So I'm talking to them saying, look, we can help you be here. And if we have kids that are going through this program, they perk up when I say that. Say, well, we have this aviation program nobody else has. And so they see a natural progression from the school right into their industry is what ultimately I'd like to keep kids here that have good jobs, spending money here.
Never thought it'd be a good thing we didn't have wind towers around.
Yeah, I'm not a wind tower fan. I might get shot for it, but I
But
don't
you
care if
couldn't
I
do
never
this.
see another one.
That
Yeah.
is not a attractive
No.
area to have a bunch of wind towers to
No,
mess with. so.
it's not, I agree.
Other questions? Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for letting me talk too much.
Great idea. Yeah, I like it.
I like it.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Excuse me. Next on our agenda, I guess we just had the aviation presentation, didn't we? Reports. Superintendent's report, Dr. Ross.
Yes, so we have student and staff recognitions today. Today we're going to recognize across the district. So we had 3 Rangerettes named to all district. These were for the volleyball team, and they were named to the 2022 4A all district teams. Senior Genesis Flores, Senior Maya Valenzuela, and Junior Analia Loera received honorable mentions. And next we have Creighton High School art winners. They entered in the 9th annual Windows on the Wider World art competition, and the theme for the contest was music. Adrian Navarrete took 2nd place in the competition and was awarded $300. And Leslie Pignon placed on the top 10 and was awarded $100. Perryton Junior High Honor Choir was also recognized. 6th grade choir auditioned in mid-October, so we're a little behind on this, so I apologize. They placed in the 6th grade honor choir and performed at the Amarillo Civic Center. And they are Tiana Zamora, Sarah Assad, Andrea Peña, Julia Ramirez, Alexa Vela, Elian Ramos, Brian Miranda, Juan Aguilar, Marilyn Rojo, and Maggie Kinney. And then recently, we had our UIL, academic UIL. Second grade won second place overall. Congratulations, second graders. We had third grade, 21 participants, and they won first place overall. Fourth grade won first place overall. Fifth grade won first place overall. Junior high won first place overall.
Goodness.
Junior high, first place. That one still continued. A lot of first place. Just exciting, and lots of participants. So this whole packet is filled with students that participated. Then we also want to recognize some staff members. They participated in the 67th performance of the George Frederick Candle of the Messiah. And they are Jill Elsie, she's one of our substitutes. TK Aruda, one of our staff members, choir teacher at the junior high. Keith Harris at the high school, and Miguel Escobar also at the high school. So we appreciate them participating there. And then last, we want to congratulate Mr. and Mrs. Daisy Underwood. Cole and Daisy got married over the weekend on Friday, and we just want to say congratulations to them. We also have a couple of resignations. The below personnel have submitted their resignations effective December the 16th. They are John De Santiago, Perryton Junior High teacher and coach, and Aurora Carnero, Williams Intermediate nurse. And one last recognition is to the people that donated the furniture in our front office. We want to say thank you to the Simons from Perryton Furniture, to Bryce Hell, and to Sarah Dragalis. So thank you. It looks very nice. I don't know if y'all noticed, but we had another sign put up there. We have our A-rated district sign put up today. So thank you to maintenance for helping us get that up.
Well, thank you to the Simons and to Sarah and to Bryce. Thank you very much. Campus reports, starting off at Ludi Martin.
Hello again. I wanted to share with you, in the last few weeks, it's not in my board report, as I was looking at graduation plans and getting some transcripts ready for a couple of seniors that could graduate if they passed their history test in the last 2 weeks. And as I was looking at those, I noticed that there was a couple of blanks and dates that were mandatory, and I had to do some research. I didn't know anything about it, and it's pretty new, but came from Senate Bill 30, and it's the Community Safety Act, and those students were supposed to have some CPR training and training on how to interact with police officers. And so I made that happen in the last 2 weeks with the help of Coach Watson, and I talked with Sergeant Mabbitt came and helped us out and answered questions from our students. And we also let the DAP students after that watch the video as well, how to interact with police. I just thought that was important. And then this week, every student participated in CPR training with Coach Watson. So I just wanted to let you know that that happened, and I just made every student do it instead of the ones that
Perfect.
I just felt like that would be a great idea. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you and let you know that happened. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's go to the high school.
We've got a lot of things happening at the high school. We're doing semester tests this week, but positive things, you got to meet Edwin Ochoa, who did the aviation video. He and Sammy Perez, Sergio Campos, and Alex Gerald were able to design a video through the Better Business Bureau out of Amarillo, and they got second place and received $1,000 for AV equipment, audio-visual equipment for the high school. And if you haven't watched it, you can go onto YouTube, type in BBB Amarillo, and their videos will pop up. I believe Panhandle High School won. I think it was biased. I was really thinking we should win. But our kids did a great job. You'll see the video they made, and it was they had to do something on online shopping and why it's important to use a verified, reputable business, and the way you can find out those businesses is through the BBD. So our kids, it was about buying a pair of shoes online, was their premise. So you can go online and look at the other videos, but you can see ours, and I think they did a great job. As far as our band students, we had 3 students qualify for all region band: Diego Rosales, Samuel Saucedo, boy, I don't know if I'm saying this right, Dayami, is that correct? Shiar, help me, Dr. Rock.
Titus.
Okay, there you go. And they all qualified for all region band. And we had a whole slew of kids that qualified for all region choir, and there'll be, some of them are already advancing, but Ailia Hernandez, Brisa Arusho, Victor Sandoval, Miles Skipper, Tiana Hill, Ever Campos, Gus Hernandez, Caleb Jones, and Katie Thomas, all qualified for all region choir. So that's just a snippet of some of our kids' successes, but things are going well at the high school. We're winding up the semester with semester tests. Last ones are tomorrow, and we're having a faculty dinner tomorrow, so I would invite you guys, if you want to come by, we're having a faculty dinner. So, a little bit of fellowship at the high school. Thank you guys. You're invited too.
Thank you very much. Let's go to junior high, Ms. Wheeler.
We've been busy lately, especially the past few days. Dr. Rock and I have been working on our Cycle 1 review of the targeted improvement plan to submit that to TEA, and we got that off this morning, and it's all ready to go. We performed a panorama survey. Some of the results are not what we want by any means, but this gives us a starting point to springboard, if you will, to make some changes and improve some of those numbers and increase those. We just finished up fall benchmarks. We've just had a lot going on recently, so we've been really busy. We had a great choir concert last week, but a wonderful band concert this week. So we've just got a lot, and in spite of flu and strep and all the things, our attendance has been around 96. So we've been pretty steady. You know, that's a huge positive. I don't know if it's good because they're still coming to school and getting each other sick, or if it's just, but the numbers look good. So thank you guys.
Thank you very
Happy
much.
holidays.
Let's go to Williams, Mr. Cates.
It's all great at Williams.
All.
Not even good anymore, except for our attendance. We have been hit by the flu and sickness, and we might have 30, 35 kids a day gone. So our attendance is not very good, but the good thing is the parent attendance is really good. Our picnic with the parents, out of all of our 266 families, 95% of those kids had parents show up for picnic with parents, and sometimes 2. So I thought that attendance was really good. Our Ranger campus ended, and one of the great cool things is we took the kids went to a Ranger basketball game, and they made them a deal. Coach Ab let them in. They made them a deal at the concession stand. And you would be surprised that some of those kids have never been to a game, and it was just incredible. I mean, we take it for granted, but they had never been.
So those kids are so big to them.
And they've never even been in the gym for anything but a PE thing or a pep rally, and that was really neat to take them. But now to the great news, for the 4th year running, Williams has swept UIL.
Good job.
Just wonderful. They have done so well, and we give the teachers enough praise and our kids, and 4 years in a row, and this is even before COVID.
It's pretty solid.
But here's the thing, in all this, I never had one kid be perfect. We have a girl, I will not butcher her last name, her name's Jackie V, and it's very hard to say, and I would read. She scored perfect in Art Smart. That means that she spelled correctly the name of every painting, and
painter of every painting. She got a special certificate from the state of Texas.
Well, she should.
Nobody's ever seen a perfect in our school. And she did it. And that is wonderful. So, I guess it's all wonderful at Williams.
Wonderful.
But yeah, but our kids did so well. And we should be very proud. And we put a lot of hard work into it, teachers did. And we went bowling today too. So they all got to go bowling, so that was really fun. So really, that's it, and that's the most I'll ever talk probably, so.
Until next month.
No, I won't ever talk that much again. But we should be very proud of our kids, because the junior high carried on too, so it's just, it's great. So
Third year in a row, so.
Very good.
they did very well. Thank you, Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much. Merry Christmas. Right. Ms. Chisholm.
Last week, I got to be part of giving those Grow Your Own, grants to 3 teachers in my building. It was a great experience. It was emotional for myself and the teachers, Dr. Rock. I mean, it's such a great program, and so I was really excited to get to be a part of that. I mean, in my board report, I did include that we took the first interim assessments for 3rd grade online. The teachers and the kids did such a great job. You know, you don't think of all the little things that those kids don't know how to do on the computer taking the test, and everyone was so flexible and so willing to, you know, do what they needed to do. We had no technology problems, and the kids did well, the teachers did well. Everyone was very pleased with how that went. So I'm excited for us to go to online testing. It was nice to have the results just within an hour, and I know that's not how it'll be on the STAR test, but for the benchmarker, teachers had spent a lot of time grading and, you know, a lot of their own personal time. So to be able to take that away from them was, you know, sometimes the gift of time is the best thing that we can give them. So these are great at Wright. I'll say I'll take some of the credit for the UIL, because we've done so well and taught them all about the UIL, different contests, and so that was a great experience for our kids. Our 2nd graders did so good. They only get to participate in 2 events, and 3rd grade 1, and there are 4 events that they get to participate in, and so it's fun to see that excitement. We did a UIL assembly today for the kids, and seeing all of them so excited for their peers is always so nice to see. So.
Thank you very much. How about Kinder, Ms. Wilson?
Miss Wilson is not here,
I didn't think I had seen her.
but she did want me to announce her students for the second 6 weeks, and they are Jet Wood, Ezra Peregrino, Ian Tena, Mason McElroy, Emelyn Barrera, Eli Rascon Gallegos, Shirel Suarez, Sebastian Perez, Anthony Martinez, Luca Rivera, Catherine Hernandez, Braxton De La Cruz, and they had a 3-way tie for staff members for the second 6 weeks, and they were Elvia Mata, Tanya Richardson, and Tamara Hall.
And 2 teachers got slimed for their attendance.
I think it's the same teacher, but I couldn't tell who that was. They did get slimed.
Excuse me. Director's reports. Ms. Walker, food service.
Well, a good thing I have to add is that we've had 3 different people donate money to kids' accounts that were outstanding, and we gave $1,400 out today to.
Wow.
I didn't count the kids, I was counting the money, but like we would give them, if they were way over, anywhere from $45 to $20 is what we did to help those kids, and there was at least over, I would say 45 to 50 kids that we were able to help through that donation, or through the donations that were given, and help them out during Christmas time. So that was a very nice surprise, and it was a good thing. It was really a neat thing to see.
Very good. Ranger Roundup. I would just wave from here
I do wanna update my enrollment. We had a new infant start today, and we had 2 other enrollments that will start this afternoon, New Year's. So that gives us 3 just in the last week. From our Thanksgiving dinner that we hosted, we heard a lot of good feedback from that. So today we hosted Christmas parties in all of our classrooms. And I did wanna say that for our Thanksgiving parties, we only had 3 children that didn't have a parent show up. That is amazing. Just the fact that these parents understand the work that we do over there, and that they were willing to take time out of their day to come and show up with it. So I'm really thankful for the community and just their partnership with us and all of that. We have been hit pretty hard with just sickness, like everybody else, but we are kind of on the back end of that, and our teachers were hit pretty hard last week through that. I did include some information on parent satisfaction surveys. I hope you review that. And I just appreciated the positive feedback that we're getting, and the staff and their work for all of that. And they're in for us. Thank you so much.
Can I just add the rate of the quality of the program based on this survey? We're all 4s and 5s.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Pretty neat.
impressive.
I had that circle. That's really good.
Kudos. Good
Thanks.
job.
I'm liking all these survey results since I harped about that earlier.
Technology, Mr. Throckmorton. Thought I heard Rodney's voice.
He's not here.
No, I didn't hear his voice.
Okay.
His report is written.
Right in.
Yes, it is.
Athletics, Coach Abner.
Yep.
Keep rolling down the list. I didn't know I saw Alan Kemp. Cause there he is.
Front and center.
I really don't have much to add, guys.
We'll talk more later.
That report from Huseman's, are we,
We're gonna talk about that in action items.
okay.
Do anything for communications? Just didn't see anything in there. How about curriculum and instruction? Dr. Rock?
I don't have anything to add, but I do want to highlight, in my board report, I did have an early notification of retirement stipend. So as we start moving into the spring semester, we would like to offer an early notification of retirement. So if we have staff members that are thinking about retiring, if they notify us by January the 31st, then they will be eligible for a stipend, so that we can get moving on posting those positions and hiring some quality staff members instead of waiting until the summer to hear that they are retiring.
Okay, any questions?
I didn't realize the Grow Your Own grants were so big. That's fantastic.
They were.
That is definitely life impacting.
Yes,
for those
yes.
Teachers.
And one individual received the stipend twice at $9,000 each. So
Oh, this is her second year?
this is her second stipend.
Second stipend.
Yes, so,
Mhm.
yes.
That's good.
Okay, CFO report, Ms. Moran.
Okay, disbursements start on page 68. And if y'all will jump to page 106, okay. 108, I meant. The CDs, I'm actually gonna go way over. Thank you, Edie, for your rates right now.
You're welcome.
Just today I did another CD and it's a little over 32,000, and as you can see on the bottom right-hand side, we had already passed what I budgeted. So I'm estimating we'll really go around 100,000 over in revenue from when those mature. And that'll just be in this year. The rest of them, for cash flow reasons, I'll put out into next fiscal year. On page 109, right now, we're getting the bulk of our local tax funds, so that should increase this month, and then next month, in January, it'll really increase and help us with that February bond payment. Next we'll, I gotta use different tabs. Alright, page 121,
starting to come in, so if y'all pay attention to that number on the very bottom right-hand side, we're back in the black. I know the past couple months it looks like we're negative, but it's just because our revenue hasn't come in. The next page, I really like this report. I don't know how much detail everybody looks into it. Overall, all the expense accounts are generally less than 30%, which is about how far we are into the year, as far as when November ended, not today. Transportation's just a little bit higher, which it's not as bad as it was last year. Okay, you can see transportation on page 125. And it's about 32%. It's about the third row from the top. On page 127 for the cafeteria fund, that revenue's only for the months of September and October, because November's expenses will actually, or the claim for November will actually come in this month, so they don't really operate in the negative like it appears right there. That's nice. And lastly, on enrollment, our team's fall snapshot submission was done. For the snapshot, it was 2,000, our ADA was at 2000 our enrollment was at 2008, and if y'all remember back at budgets time, I budgeted for 1,900 ADA. So 108 students a day are gone, we'll still hit that. But right now we're actually at 1861 is our average daily attendance. So we're a little low, and if you remember from what Dustin reported on, how we had to pay back, or how they're recapturing 750,000, that's where we see it. Historically, the fourth 6 weeks is what's usually lowest. So, that's about it.
Okay, any questions? Thank you very much. Move on to consent agenda items. We've got 2 separate minutes, 2 separate meetings to approve, if you so desire. Would entertain a motion. Motion, do we hear a second? Second. Moved and seconded to approve both of the minutes from the meeting on November the 17th, as well as the meeting on December 5. Any additional discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Discussion or action items? We do have some information that is set around to everybody. We've talked had a chance to digest a little bit before we got together tonight to be able to talk about it on the football field lighting. We've got an amendment here to be able to add the engineering for said lighting program to the Hughesman contract that we already have. And I'm gonna say this out loud. I'm gonna read something from page 10. It's on our policy here. There's many, many things once you get elected to school board and you start asking questions about how things work and why things work the way they do. And some things you scratch your head and say, well, that just seems plumb silly. This is one of them. That if we were to contract with the cooperative, the buy board, that we've gotten a lot of material from over the years, for this lighting project, the project that's being provided is obviously a fully engineered turnkey project. But state law, Government Code 791.011, parentheses, letter H. An interlocal contract between a district and a purchasing cooperative may not be used to purchase engineering or architectural services. Even though we're buying something that's already been engineered, we still have to pay, per state law, for an additional engineer to come in and oversee the engineering of the engineered project.
How much does that add to the time frame?
6% to the cost.
To the cost,
Time
but
frame?
to the time frame.
Time frame's easy, it's already been done. It's a matter of putting a check mark on it
So we're not
and
gonna,
approving it.
we're going to replace the poles and replace the lights, we're not gonna have to go back and have everything redesigned and reapproved.
If we were to go in the original proposal from, forgive me, what's the name of the
Techline.
company?
Techline.
Techline, you know, included replacing, four of the poles just on the corner, taking down the center one on the west side, leaving the center one on the east side, cause our radio antenna is on top of that pole, so it's still being utilized. Fully engineered has X amount, as we saw in the presentation here last month or month before. Has, you know, the proper number of lumens of light on the field, everything is stretched out. About the only option on there is an additional controller that controls some of the features and some of the showier functions that this system will be able to provide, being an LED system, versus the metal halide. If you've ever been in, well, if you lose the lights, somebody backs up against the switch and shuts the stupid thing off. You're how long getting them warm back up and on? 8 to 10 minutes. LEDs, of course, are on instantly, which allows for some showier options. A lot of these larger sports facilities, whether they be a basketball court or a football field, have some pretty showy halftime and after a touchdown, whatnot type presentations from their lights, because they're instant on, instant off, and doing some different things. But there's some different things you can do with this program for a $10,000 option. My question was, the $10,000 option, if we decided not to go with that today, in the future, is it still just another $10,000 option? Of course, inflation, but is there any installation that is done with an initial installation with that option that would make it, double by the time it gets there? We have talked a lot about offering this to see what local electricians would be interested in putting together a turnkey program. That is still an option from the board standpoint, if that's the decision of the board to be able to do that. But know that that's going to stretch our time out quite a little bit, because it's going to have to then be followed up with the same engineering program that comes
I
through.
thought our deadline here, since we decided no matter what we did here, we were gonna still, we're gonna have to provide some lighting for the soccer program, right, Alan?
Yeah, I know Hab's not here, but we kinda discussed a little the other day, and what I was understanding from him, that the soccer coaches and stuff basically said that they thought they could make do with what they had. and that we
So the
didn't
next
have those.
Have the
hit
light
point,
points.
so the next hit point as far as, but we're months off of needing lights after that, is that correct, for anything?
I think there's maybe a track event in February.
At night?
They run into night.
Could go into night. yeah.
We're running into it, yeah.
10 o'clock.
I don't know the exact date of that, I just remember Hab's.
Well, is there any way, I thought let me think about this, is there any way we could have the lights up and running here in we're just middle December? What are we saying?
The
Well,
timeframe was 8
even
to
if we
12,
do it,
correct?
Timeframe was 6 to 8 weeks.
6 to 8.
After they got a PO number. Now, in talking to the gentleman the other day when I asked some other questions, it's possible it could be a little quicker than that, but I mean, that's kind of what their standard setup is. And to address the question about the extra cost on, say, the
Engineering.
action lighting.
Oh, the action light.
If you're gonna do it, now all those heads and stuff while the poles are down, you'll be able to do that. It's independent to each pole, to be able to action the poles, so it's considerable more to go back and
Get people excited about
after it's put in.
Yeah.
So,
So I guess our decision here this evening is one, I guess it's twofold. One is either way, if we go with a local provider or if we go through the buy board, we've gotta have this. We've gotta have the engineering to be able to do that. As an aside from the engineering, be a good conversation to have with any people that have the power to change such a law anytime you have an opportunity. Cause to me, it's just a waste of taxpayer money to have to pay them. It's $18,000 approximately, rounding it off. That there's no reason to have to pay it because it's already an engineered product, but there's no way to get around it.
Does anything change in the engineer approval if we either go for the buy board product or if we were to do some of the work with local suppliers? Does anything change?
The whole project still has to be engineered. The only change would be that would probably take more work on Hughesman's part to be able to engineer an entire system rather than just approving a system that's already been
So
engineered.
back to my question on when we need to have deadlines on the field lighting, how much time does that add to it?
Well, how long would we put this out for bid locally? You know, what's a fair number? Is a week, I don't know, Alan, what do you usually get?
I would guesstimate, cause you're gonna have to, you're gonna have to basically an RFQ out in the paper, it's gotta run for like 10 days, something like that. All that engineering specs, specifications have to be in hand before you can even hand that stuff out to contractors, so they're all bidding apples to apples.
So he would have to do his engineering and get specs first.
That's correct.
And it might be crickets.
And then you turn it over for another.
I'm thinking, just complete through the bid process before you would even be able to make a decision, you're probably looking at least 4 weeks.
A month?
That's only if the local people can get the stuff too. Whatever.
See, so this is what we don't know. We were gonna try to do this with some local people, so we had some people, I mean, the $318,000 price tag, whatever it is now, they've still got sticker shock on a few lights. I mean, I realize they're elaborate, but they're a few lights without the, what'd you call it, action lights? Action without action lighting, okay.
I hadn't heard that term, I like that
I had not
term.
heard it either.
Action lighting.
But if we don't have another deadline, then I don't think we're in a rush, but it sounds like you're already building delays in what we can do here, so it looks like we're gonna pass any of the lights for anything coming up, unless I'm not hearing you guys.
Our schools now, cause when you're gonna have stuff tore all over. And you're gonna graduation,
Which we should not do in the middle of the day.
and you're gonna be a bunch of stuff all strung out and tore up everywhere, probably just have to wait till after
So we got time to do all this with the engineering stuff and looking at local bids if we want to, because, again, we originally talked about trying to get something in place for soccer, and that's not possible.
The timeframe just doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work, exactly, and by the time you've already heard my opinion on some of these engineering studies. So, by the time we throw that in there, we build delays into it, so.
I'll make a motion, we put it out for local bid as well.
I think it's the right thing to do.
As a preface to that motion, or would that motion also include approving the addendum to Hughesman's contract?
Both.
To add him? I don't know that we can do both in one motion. Can we start with Hughesman first, and then we'll come back with a motion for local bid?
I'll do the one for the engineering.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve the addendum to the engineering contract. Any additional discussion?
Yep. What if we don't? We have to use them regardless of who we use.
We don't have to. We can use any engineer we want, but since they were already working on it,
So if we approve this, are we paying these guys?
we're paying them a percentage.
in the future when we begin, when the project.
$18,000 is what you said.
But if we don't use them, we aren't gonna pay them. This isn't telling them, we aren't signing a contract with them saying, if we do this lighting project, you're gonna be our engineer. Yes.
We are. We're saying that it becomes an addendum to the Huesman contract that we signed last May.
But we hired
No matter what, we
Houston,
have to use them.
we hired Houston because we'd already looked at costs and some
Yeah.
other things, so I thought, I mean, that.
Well, what if
I don't
what
wanna
if one of
keep-
these local contractors has another engineer that'll do it for $8,000?
We can ask them, well, you're missing the boat then. But if you're not, if Lloyd's right, we're not gonna do anything, we're not gonna actually get this thing done till next summer.
Wait, didn't it have to be engineered before it could be bid on?
We have to have engineering specs for them to bid it first.
So it has to be
Material
engineered
and
before
color
they
range
can bid on it.
Are engineered approved before, and then, but the whole project when it's done has to be.
Cause that's what Alan has to give them is engineered specs.
Engineered specs.
Okay, so.
That's the only way you're gonna get fair bids from everybody.
Apples to apples.
How much will that bid that we got last?
It was 45 days from the time we got it, so it's gonna be coming up on the 21st.
We're about to
Another-
run out.
Well, no,
Another
it's
20,000.
gonna go down, man, what are you talking about?
That ain't gonna go down. Just gonna keep creeping up.
So we're in 18 grand if we raise our hands right here, regardless of what happens.
For
Yeah,
engineering fees,
but we can't do the lights without it, so what
There
are you
is
voting for?
not really another option.
which is,
Are there any other engineers in the area?
Yeah, me.
I mean, Hughesman. How much?
Richard can do it. Richard can do it.
I'd be easy, but it wouldn't get through.
I would not
interject
play
this,
sports.
that, you're looking at electrical and structural. And there's not a lot of people, not a lot of engineers that do electrical, structural, they're kind of, a lot of them are independent to that.
And Hughesman does both.
He's actually all three, he's electrical, structural.
I don't think we want to start busting up pieces.
Okay. No, I don't. I just,
Good questions, yeah.
you got that same little grit teeth look that I've had since I started reading this. Like, you gotta be kidding me.
well, it's just,
There's
I know that nobody around this board table takes spending taxpayers' money, lightly, and it's hard to fathom.
It's
It's
frustrating that
disgusting.
our hands are tied to where we have to spend taxpayer money for something that's already been done.
It just takes money away from everything else in the budget. I mean, it's very frustrating here, but because you know.
There's your action lights, plus some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any negotiating now price with Houston? I mean, we do a lot of business with that company, a lot. It takes a lot of money out of here.
Potentially.
Where did the 18,000 come from?
It was
Just a
me-
percentage.
It was me taking 300,000 times 6%.
Yeah, it's a rough estimate.
And I don't know that I don't know that he's actually, I'm sure he's been communicated with to kind of know that this may happen, but I don't know that there's been
I don't think there's
Can-
been an
anything
amount.
set in stone on.
I'll tell you what, can we do this, Wes? Can we table this until our meeting
Monday?
Monday?
Tuesday?
Just to get an
Tuesday we
idea,
can.
see if we get a hold of
I mean,
Houston
if
between
I-
now and then. It's not
and
gonna
I-
slow us down 72 hours.
And I put it times 6%, and if I get to this second one, and I missed this, looking at this when I sat down, hourly rates noted in Exhibit A to the agreement, and I don't know where Exhibit A is, or what Exhibit A is, or what hourly rates we're looking at, what kind of rates we're talking about, but perhaps could find out from Houston between now and then.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I think so. We can put that on the agenda, and we can talk about it on Tuesday.
Ask them and tell them, point out
Find out
that
exactly
they're
what it is.
already designed structures and, wanna try that one?
We're sending a lot of cash that way, so
Well, I mean,
we can do that, we can just table that and take care of it then. At the same time, we can have a motion to be able to
get this
kick it out
queued up.
for local guys as well. We'll have a little full thoughts of what we're looking at from a dollar standpoint.
Perfect.
Okay, well, the only thing I've got left here, if we're looking at a meeting next Monday at noon.
Monday?
Or Tuesday at noon, I'm sorry. I keep saying Monday, I'm out of town on Monday. On Tuesday at noon, do we wanna go ahead and set a January date?
Might as well.
Pull up our mobile calendars here. Fourth Tuesday will be January the 24th. this calendar has nothing of what's going on from a school event standpoint.
That's on Tuesday, so there'll be basketball.
Yeah, there will be.
We wanna move to Thursdays through the winter?
I think that'd be best.
Would that be
Fine with me.
more appropriate?
Yeah,
I'll
let's
be
go.
here.
So it's Thursday the 26th. Administration good
I think so.
with that, to have everything done? Brittany, you good?
Oh,
Have everything done?
definitely, thank you.
Okay, 126-23. Big number. Okay, seeing nothing else for the board, I declare this meeting adjourned.